Big tech decisions have real impact on people. And that's why I ask my constituents using your platforms to share their experiences on your platforms with me as their representative. And I'm here to advocate on their behalf. I received 450 responses. And one major thing that I heard from my constituents was the experience they've had with sites taking down religious content, which is important because there's a lot of religious organizations are now streaming their services due to COVID. I did have one instance where a constituent wrote to me, quote, and this is what she posted: "I am thankful God's grace is new every morning." And then Facebook took it down. And then my constituent said she got a notice from Facebook that it violated their policies around hate. And so I just want to discuss about this. I could ask you yes or no questions, Mr. Zuckerberg, on that. But I just want to talk about it a little bit. One, it just seems, I know that we don't want extreme language on the internet. I'm with you on that. And you can't watch everything. And so you use algorithms to find that. So algorithms will flag things, some that are clearly obvious and some that you would say probably shouldn't have been flagged. But it seems to me that it seems to be biased in that direction. And so instead of just giving you a yes or no question, I want to read that quote again. And I sort of know a little bit about math, not a lot, but a little bit about within that quote, what in there would get tripped up, and would this quote get tripped up and put into the flag category? And it says, "I am thankful God's grace is new every morning." And so I guess the question is, what word or thought do you think would trip an algorithm for that quote, Mr. Zuckerberg?
Congressman, it is not clear to me why that post would be a problem. I would need to look into it in more detail. Sometimes the systems look at patterns of posting. So if someone is posting a lot, then maybe our system thinks it's spam. But I would need to look into it in more detail. Overall, the reality is that any system is going to make mistakes. There's going to be content that we take down that we should have left up, and there's going to be content that we missed that we should have taken down that we didn't catch, or that the system's made a mistake on. And at scale, unfortunately, those mistakes can be a large number, even if it's a very small percent. But I think that's why when we're talking about things like Section 230 reform, I think it is reasonable to expect large companies to have effective moderation systems, but not reasonable to expect that there are never any errors. But I think that transparency can help hold the companies accountable as to what accuracy and effectiveness they're achieving.
Okay, to your spam comment, I think they did receive a notification that was for the hate policy. So, and I understand there's going to be gray areas, whatever, but that quote, I don't see where the gray areas, how it could get caught up in that. But I want to move on. Thanks for your answer with that. I want to move on. So, Mr. Dorsey, I want to talk about the RFK Jr. I didn't see that quote, but you said that didn't violate your policy. And just in the context of that, I know CDC just recently updated its school guidance to make clear science says you can be 3 feet away and still be safe in schools. The issue, things are changing every day because we're learning more and more about this virus. So how did the RFK comment not violate your policy, and RFK Jr., and how did we have a RFK 3 that we all, JPK 3, I guess we all like, and as a former colleague, but RFK Jr. and the policy towards that, and then how do you keep up with what's changing so quickly, Mr. Dorsey?
Yeah, we can follow up with you on the exact reasoning, but we have to recognize that our policies evolve constantly, and they have to evolve constantly. So, as has been said earlier in this testimony, we observe what's happening as a result of our policy. We try to understand the ramifications, and we improve it. And it's a constant cycle. We're always looking to improve our policies and our enforcement.
So, Mr. Zuckerberg, Mr. Pachal, just on all the continuously evolving information on COVID, because we're learning more and more about it, and how do you keep up? Well, only about 30 seconds, so if you could, quick answers for each of you, if you can. Mr. Pachal, maybe, since you haven't answered the question.
On COVID, we've been really taking guidance from CDC and other health experts, proactively removing information. One thing we get to do in YouTube is to recommend higher quality content. We have shown over 400 billion information panels on COVID alone last year, including a lot from CDC and other health organizations.
Okay, thank you.